Hey guys, today I'm going to replace my fuel pressure regulator on my LLY Duramax and switch it to a LBZ regulator. I have a code for fuel pressure regulator performance, and I also have a little shake at idle. I know the LLY regulator is known to surge, so that's why I'm switching it to a LBZ model. So let's start the project. First I'm going to disconnect both batteries because I will be pulling the main wire harness clips out, and I'm also going to be pulling a lot of sensors out. First thing you gotta do is remove the cold air intake tube. Now I'm just loosening the bottom bolt that holds the boot to the hot side intercooler pipe, which is an 11mm. Now to take off that hot side intercooler pipe that connects to the WC Fab Y bridge, remove the serpentine belt, and now that the serpentine belt is off, you can now take off the AC compressor, which are 15mm bolts, and you can set the AC compressor aside. It is supposed to be 4 bolts, but I only have 3. I don't know what happened to it. The previous owner must have lost it somewhere. Now to remove this part that connects the cold air intake to the turbo. I don't know what it's actually called. If you so happen to know, please leave a comment below and tell me what it is. I would greatly appreciate it. Give the old turbo a check here. Give it a little wiggle to see if the blades are loose, but no, everything seems perfectly fine with it. Now that the wiring harness is unclipped, I'm now removing the bracket. You're going to want to use a magnet to get that bottom bolt out. It's going to be difficult to get to. And the bracket bolts are 12mm. Perfect. And now to push the wire harness out of the way so I can remove the bracket. I'm just removing the bracket so I'll be able to move the wires freely so I can remove the bolts on the Y bridge. And now the alternator needs to be removed, and those mounting bolts are 15mm. And I will continue to say it till this day. Guys, get yourself a 90-degree attachment for your impact. It'll make your life so much easier. Or get yourself an electric ratchet like I did after this project. But I'll tell you what, that 90-degree attachment is going to be a lot cheaper for you. And now that the alternator is removed, you will barely be able to see the fuel pressure regulator. And it's right under that hose I'm pointing to. And now I'm going to free up this fuel line with this 12mm bolt and 12mm nut that I already took off. So I knew previously from my own boost leak test that I had a minor leak. Maybe it was because the previous owner didn't have the nuts tightened down all the way on the Y bridge. And the nuts and bolts on the Y bridge are 10mm. Oh no, my number 8 injector is leaking. I just installed those 2 years ago. It was a good thing it just only needed tightened though. I ended up only loosening the left side of the bottom nuts on the Y bridge, and I completely took out the nuts on the right side of the Y bridge, and I was able to get it loose. And now that metal coolant line connecting to the thermostat housing is in my way. And yup, I'm sadly gonna have to do it. I didn't want to, but I have no choice. I'm gonna have to take the metal coolant line out. I'm so happy I'm a flexible guy. This is way more comfortable sitting in the engine bay than standing on my step stool and leaning over the engine. You have no leverage that way. Sitting this way, your feet are actually under you, literally, and you have tons of leverage. I'm using my DeWalt Impact to hold the metal coolant line up so no coolant leaks out. I'll tell you what, getting this Y bridge out was a pain, but I finally got it out. Oh man, look at this mouse nest in my valley. And look at all that soot. Oh man. I was thinking about cleaning this soot with brake cleaner, but did some research and found out that would be a bad decision.
Now it's time to take off the turbo cover and paint that, clean it up. It's really dirty. Look at all that dirt and soot on it.
There are 6 bolts on this turbo cover, and they are all 12-point sockets. The size is 8mm. There are 2 right here, 2 right here, and 1 at the top I already took out, and then 1 behind the wire harness. You may need to pry on that fuel line to get it past the blades of the turbo to get the cover off. I'm gonna clean this up and make it look sweet.
There's still dirt and crevices.
I've used brake cleaner and scrubbed it with the brush.
So now, I'm gonna power wash it.
Oh yeah, it's spotless now. Since it's so windy outside, I'll be painting inside. Don't worry, I did scuff it up with sandpaper before I primed it out. And I went with a gloss black finish. Looks gorgeous. But sadly, I had my friend putting in my new regulator while I was painting the turbo, and he snapped the bolt of my CP3 pump. And now the front of the engine needs to come off. I should have stuck to my original script from the beginning. Nobody touches your truck. I learned a valuable lesson, and now I will stay on the path. So now, let me take that CP3 pump out. The whole front of the engine needs to come apart now. We gotta take the Y bridge off for the coolant. Oh man. Listen to that coolant drain. This is why I didn't want to pull the metal coolant line in the first place, because I could have just filled it up, but now I'm going to have to replace it all. Alright now, so I got all the fuel lines off of the CP3 pump, and those are going to be a 17mm crow's foot that attached to the ratchet. And you can see here that I removed the coolant Y bridge as well. You can see the gaskets. So the power steering reservoir gets removed along with the bracket that holds it, the oil dipstick tube, the fan clutch, and the bracket that holds the alternator, and the FICM line gets disconnected. When you get the CP3 pump out, you're going to want to roll it towards you. And I also had to remove that fuel line right there. And you're going to have to remove the fuel lines to the fuel rails. And pull these back just a hair as you roll the CP3 pump out. Yes, it very much is a task. And I took my thermostat housing and bent it up towards the windshield of the truck. And there's that regulator bolt stuck inside my CP3 pump. While I had everything out of my valley, I decided to clean it up with something called Power Clean. Clean with a K. It just destroys anything grease related. It did a great job on my valley. Look at that, it's gorgeous. So now I installed the new regulator with the CP3 pump out, and now it's time to reinstall the CP3 pump. You can use the valley for your oil dipstick tube to see where the gears line up for the CP3 pump. As you can see, we're a little bit off, but I'm gonna get them straight and I'll get back to you. Now it's perfect. You're probably gonna have to use the mounting bolts to pull the gears in tight to each other because they're helical gears. Look at all that Florida sand dust I got in my cold air intake. Let's clean it up and get it painted. Perfect. Now all my cold air will be black and all my hot air will be red. Almost got everything reinstalled. Now I'm about to put back the Y bridge. I literally ended up using a spoon to scoop out the soot. The last couple things I need to do is install the alternator, the serpentine belt, the thermostat housing, and the wiring for the regulator. I was just cleaning it before I was reinstalling the wiring. Man, this engine looks so much better than it did before. The only thing left to do now is connect both batteries, the fan clutch, and the serpentine belt, and then we will have the moment of truth. Ace, let me know if the air dog turns on, will ya? Ace, go and check if there's white smoke. The truck sounds so much more deep, probably because of that boost leak I fixed. And now to completely change the coolant like I said. So let's drain it out. There's no way that's it. Aw, stupid me. I forgot to remove the cap. I will continue to flush the coolant system with distilled water till I get nothing but clear water out of it. That coolant was hot. And this is the petcock valve, where you drain the coolant system on the passenger side of the wheel well, behind the front bumper, on the corner of the radiator. Yeah, I know those new vehicles aren't that advanced because they don't even have drain plugs. This is the second time draining it. Still have a lot of conventional coolant left inside. Look how hot it is. That is steaming. By the third time I drained it, we're starting to get some clearness in the coolant. We're almost there. Getting very close. I think one more will do it. This is perfect. This is exactly what I'm looking for. Straight water coming out. Mission accomplished. Now it's time to call it a night. Adding the new Napa yellow coolant. This was one of those broken bolt projects. But hey, I learned a valuable lesson. Never let anybody work on your truck except you. That's how it's been and that's how it will always remain. I'm a traditional guy and I like to keep tradition. Because without tradition, you have no history and you have no core value. But hey, if you were wondering how I got the Y bridge off so easily, I took an offset wrench from Harbor Freight and cut it small. And I shaved it a little bit on the outside so it would fit into the grooves perfectly. As you can probably see, some welding had to be done as well. But that's all good, because it worked. And now my truck is all clean from the floor to sand, inside and out. And I want to thank you guys for watching me struggle during my project. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a great day.